Trigger warning. If you're a founder of an early stage company or startup and you got a thin skin, sit this video out. Go do something fun. Relax. This is not for you. But if you want to know why most startups or early stage companies fail because of what the founder has done, if you can handle that, then stick around. Let's talk about that. Hello, my name is Bill Arnold. I'm president of Prevail Marketing, and every single day, rain or shine, we give you a video, give you ideas, concepts, suggestions, ways to grow your business through better sales and marketing. And how do we know these ways, if you will? We've done them. We've had the pain, the scars, the experience to show for it. We've done it recently. We know what works, and that's why we're sharing it with you. And today, what I want to talk about is something that can be very painful for founders. I know, man, you've given up. I respect founders. My God, you've given up a 9 to 5 job, 40 hours a week, making good money, having time for your friends and family to what? To work 112 hours a week, work 24/7 actually, and have very little money, a lot of pain, a lot of people disbelieving you, but you're still here. You're persevering. You're not giving up. And I don't blame you because I love startup companies. I mean, the most fun I've ever had is when I've been creating my own startups or working for startups. So let's talk about, why it is that we feel we have the authority to talk about what problems founders have. Pretty ostentatious, I agree. We have worked with over 60 startups. We have done about 8 ourselves very successfully. We know what it takes. We know the pain, the anguish, the toil. We know and we've seen a lot of companies fail, a lot of companies not make it from making these same mistakes. And so, as a founder, understand I've got great respect for you. I cannot tell you how much respect I have for founders because you've decided you're going to do the impossible, and you're doing it. You have the perseverance, the passion to carry you through. So let me help you. Let me give you some things that I've seen, and I'm talking about the last couple of years. One of the biggest problems founders have is the lack of market and competitor research. I know you told me you talked to 24 different people when you're building your product. You've talked to a lot of people. You feel you know it better than anybody else, and you do know about the product because that's what you focused on. What the product should look like, what the product should do, what the product they're working on hasn't worked for them. So you've got the product probably locked in, figured out, and you don't need my help for that. But there's a lot more to business than just the product, okay? Where do the buyers go for information, education, entertainment? What message do they need to see at each stage of that buyer's journey to make that decision? What influencers have an impact on them? Do you know any of that? Probably not, because you didn't ask those questions, because that wasn't your frame of reference. That wasn't what was important to you. So you need to know this. And what's the total addressable market? Do you know that? Maybe. Have you looked at each facet of it? Have you seen what each competitor is doing and not doing? Who's using paid demand? What keywords are using? Who isn't? Do you know that? You want to avoid going head to head, toe to toe with a well established business who on a paid demand structure, for example, because they will kill you. They'll have your lunch. They got more resources, more energy, more time. So when we do Prevail, if we're asked to get involved with the startup or doing one of our own even, we start with a deep dive. And I'm talking each dive is between 175 and 250 pages of analysis, looking at every facet of that industry, every facet of their competitors. We know more about that industry and their competitors than anybody else. I guarantee you. And that sets the frame of the reference to figuring out what that strategy ought to be, how we're going to attack the marketplace. Let's look at that next phase, though, because it's equally important, and it's one that, well, many founders just don't do. Your buyer personas. Do you know who your buyer personas are? No, you probably don't. And the reason you don't is you're going to tell me, well, I can't. I don't have any customers. How do I know? How can I interview my customers? You tell me to interview customers. I can't do that. I don't have any lost opportunities. I can't interview them. How am I going to be? I just created on my whole cloth because what I think I know. Until I get customers, that's the best I can do, right? Wrong. It's not the best you can do. And honestly, it's not good enough. I'll tell you how we do buyer personas when it's a new marketplace for you, but not for the industry. Who's the one person who can give you this information? A customer. So if not your customer, how about your competitor's customer? How do we get them to talk? Wow, we form up a research study. And I get contacted all the time saying, would I contribute to a research study? You know who's contacting me? Do you think it's some educational institution? No. It's someone hired this researcher to go out and find information for their competitors. And they can ask all the same questions you do for a buyer persona. They'll probably get a lot more information because people are willing to give it up. They get a gift card, they get maybe a few $100 to participate. And you can develop a really good buyer persona from that. And then what we do with that, we have a focus group afterwards to make sure we verify and validate. Because we're all about making sure and double checking. That's how you can do it. Let's talk about the next major problem. You don't know what you don't know. Right? Everyone agrees on that phrase. I'm going to make a lot of people mad what I'm going to say here. Because Elon Musk once pointed out the problem when you start up is that if you're in the marketplace with established competitors, your product must be significantly, not just a little bit, but significantly more valuable than what exists in the marketplace. And he's approaching the problem the way every single developer approaches the same problem. Every developer sees it as a product issue. If I build a better mousetrap, they will come. No, they won't. There's a lot of people who have a better product, a superior product, who never saw the time of day, who just died in the ashes of a great idea. And it wasn't for the lack of effort, time, and talent. It was that nobody knew about it. Here's the sad truth. And this is, and by the way, can Elon Musk be wrong? People are saying, how can you dare? Elon Musk is a, billionaire. You're not. How can you question Elon Musk? Elon Musk makes mistakes. If you don't believe me, look at Twitter, look at X. That certainly isn't a banner way to grow a business. And I'll give you an example of how it does work and why I say is right. I'll pick another icon to prove my point. Put Elon aside. I'll match icons for icons, okay? Back in the early days of the computer industry, there was a little known startup that was in a garage trying to toil out, stealing ideas from their competitors. They didn't have a lot of original ideas. They were taking ideas from their competitors for a mouse and other things. Yes, I'm talking about Apple. Now, Apple at the time did not have a superior product. They had a product that most businesses shied away from because it wasn't enough software, wasn't opportunities. It had restricted uses you could do for it. And so a lot of businesses just kind of thumb their nose at it. Yeah, you know what? They had something that the other DOS computer businesses did not have. Was it great technology? Not at the time. They got there. Now they're superior in many ways. Every business used Apple, I think. What they had at the time was Steve Jobs. There's my icon. Steve Jobs. Was Steve Jobs a developer? He couldn't code his way out of a paper bag. No. But what he was he a great businessman? Possibly. I won't comment on that. The jury's out in many cases. But what he was a stellar, an amazing marketer. That man could market like nobody else. He understood the marketplace. He understood how to create something and get that buzz about it. It was marketing that caused his success, not the product. So if you want to grow your product, you need to have a great marketer at your side. And I'm going to tell you, most of the people who do these businesses are not great marketers. You guys are developers. You guys are engineers. You guys are geniuses in your own field. You can stand toe to toe in your own field. No question about it. But what you can't do is you can't be a good marketer because you haven't devoted your life's work to being that. You don't have 20 years of in the trenches. No one works, no one what doesn't work, no one metrics to pay attention to. You don't have that. So if you want to be successful, founders, turn over the marketing to marketers. Turn over the sales to salespeople. The people who have a passion and know how to do that. Don't micromanage them. Yes, you can question them. You can ask for proof. You can ask to, I think you should. But you let them run the programs. Make them deliver results, but let them run it. Another major problem that customers do is ignore customer feedback. And I've seen this recently where a founder created a product roadmap. And, well, he didn't create a product roadmap. Let me rephrase this. I asked him what the product roadmap was because I was doing marketing for him. I needed to know what was going to come out, what was to expect. In fact, I was doing everything for them. I was doing customer support, sales, I was chief growth officer. I was the whole thing. And he said, we don't have a product roadmap. I said, what do you mean you don't have a product roadmap? He said, well, we do. Okay, can I have it? It's here. I've got it in my head. I know what I'm going to build. I said, well, is it on paper anywhere? Can I see it? No. He didn't have a product roadmap. He had a set of different ideas he was going to create on the fly. And the problem was he didn't take any feedback from the customers. The customers had business use cases and they would say, I need this. Can I have the screen changed differently? I don't like the UX UI on this. He didn't care. Now, I'm not saying you change your product and have it run by a single person or a single company their wishes. You go out of business quickly trying to develop it that way. But what I am saying, when you have a number of customers saying, I need this UX and UI doesn't work, or I need this feature because your competitor has this feature, and if you don't get this feature, I'm leaving, you better listen to those customers. Take their feedback, pay attention. Many founders don't. Here's another one that founders do, particularly software founders, B2B SaaS. Oh my God. Don't break the product. What am I talking about? I've been involved with founders who, during beta, fine, you can change it 10 times a day. I don't care. It's in beta. Once your product is out of beta, once it's in production, once it's being used by your customers, once they're relying upon it for their business, don't break the product. What does that mean? If you have updates, product feature enhancements, which you're always going to have, particularly with B2B SaaS, I mean, I get it. You need to have that. Do it in a way that does not disrupt the operations of paying clients. Why? Because they will cancel. If you shut down their business, if you hamper their business, if you put their business at risk, they will find someone who doesn't do that. And so what does that mean? I tell B2B clients, you know what? Have a different pace for the rollout once you get in production. Instead of every day or every week, have it every 6 to 8 weeks, ideally 8 weeks. Why? 4 weeks for development. Build what you need to build. 2 weeks to actually QA it, to test it, to verify it, and it's not going to break something else. Can you do it quicker? You can shorten it. But make sure you do that. And then the last 2 weeks is to communicate those changes to not only your customers, but your marketing department, your sales department, your QA department, everybody needs to know. So you need an email with a description 2 weeks before. It has to be in their hands. All this has to be done 2 weeks before, so they have time to adjust. An email with a description of the changes, including the benefits that will result and why you did it. Bring them in. A screenshot of each new element or feature, each new UX UI. A video showing somebody walking through it, navigating through those features, so they see exactly how it's done. I always told them to hold a webinar once a month, walking the clients through any new features, any new UX UI. And you know what you got? You've got a lot of happy customers. Even though they're making changes, they had time to adjust, time to train. It didn't have to shut down operations for a day. Do not break the product. Obviously, another area is poor financial management. Oh, yeah, I can tell you stories that I won't. Financial mismanagement is a common mistake founders make. Not having enough cash to start, not knowing how to manage the books, not knowing where to spend the money on. I've seen it all. So you need to have somebody who knows how to manage finances, have an accountant they rely upon. Don't do it yourself. If you're not a financial wizard, don't try to be it for your own business. Do what you do best. Build a product. Founders also need to understand how to raise capital. Most do not. I've seen founders who were unable to raise capital because they didn't know how to present it to investors. Didn't know how to select the right investors. Didn't know how to create the investor's deck. All this has to be done. Prevail has helped so many early stage companies and startups position themselves to be great candidates for investment. We've created investor decks that have been compelling. We've even gone out and brought investors to these clients. Say, look, this person's willing to invest money in you. We've talked to them. Finish the conversation. It's important you find the right investors, one who's not going to demand too much equity or too much control, but give you what you need. Finally, the last major problem that we've identified, and it's this next one is going to have a session all to itself: ineffective marketing strategies. Again, founders are not marketers. They lack the understanding how to quickly scale a business, and quickly scaling the business is important not only to stay in business, but to get investors. One of the principal reasons business fail is lack of traction, lack of growth, lack of paying customers. Founders who have the mentality, if I build it, they will come, often find that is not the case. You need marketing. So, tomorrow I'm going to talk about the marketing strategies every early stage company, every startup needs to investigate. Now, I hear you. How do you know what I need? You don't even know my company. No, I don't. And everything is not absolute. But what I do know is you need a few things. You need a business strategy, a marketing strategy that's going to have quick growth, a growth hacking strategy that's going to get results quickly. You need a marketing strategy that's going to allow you to grow without spending a lot of money and pay demand because you don't have a lot of money to spend. Am I right? You need a growth strategy, a marketing strategy that's going to allow you to accomplish growth without a lot of resources because you don't have a lot of people in your marketing staff. You don't have an outside agency. You have yourself and maybe one or two other people, right? You need those kind of strategies, right? Those are the ones I'm going to talk about tomorrow. The ones that you can use, that you can do in house with a limited group of people, not spending a lot of money, and get great results. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, stick around for tomorrow. I'll talk about it. If this has been a topic that has resonated you in any way, shape, or form, please like, please subscribe, please follow. Please subscribe. We need that. I need to show this is working. And if you have questions yourself for your business on any of this topic, go to our website, prevailmarketing.com. Click on the form, use the phone number, use the email address. I'd love to hear from you. So until tomorrow, have a great night.